You ready for some voices? You are now tuning in to Voices with Corey. Today's guest, Tommy Estrada. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Voices by Corey, and we are back with another episode of Voices with Corey. I am absolutely loving what we're doing on this podcast right now. You know, last week we had Elusive VA from Spooky Month, the voice of Kevin, John, and a bunch of characters on Spooky Month. And I had a bunch of fun with him. He's kind of turned into a good friend of mine, so it's always good to have friends on this show and just pick their brain about voice acting and, you know, just having fun, because that's what this podcast is all about. It's just about having fun with some voice acting friends and just letting people see this side of things and just kind of giving our own takes on the craft and all that good stuff. And this episode is nothing short of that. You know, I got another good friend of mine who's turned into a very, very good friend of mine. We met via TikTok with just auditions. We met each other just from watching each other's audition videos for a couple shows held by a production company called Saturday Morning TV, and we got to work on a show together from that same company, and we've got to work with each other on a few other projects, especially the Newgrounds voice acting collaboration. And this guy is truly, truly talented. You know, the first time I heard his voice, I'm like, okay, this guy's got some good stuff. And I heard like his acting ability. I'm like, he's got some good stuff. And then when I got to chat with him a little bit more, I'm like, wait, what? You're like a couple months into this? No freaking way, dude. It sounds like you're a pro at this. Like you're fantastic. And that just goes to show how talented this individual is, this voice actor is. He's grown so much since the first time we met, and I'm just excited to see where his career goes and how it blossoms, just because of how talented he is, not only with his acting ability, but with the voices he can do as well. This guest is a very, very near dear friend of mine, very special, and his name is Tommy Estrada. He also goes by Tommy Tom. Tommy, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm feeling such overwhelming emotions right now. Oh, thank you so much.
That's all you'll get from me, Tommy.
That's
just
it.
Overwhelming emotions at any given hour of the day.
Thank you so much, man. You kind of almost made me tear a little bit. I was like, oh, we started way back when with Saturday Morning TV, and oh my goodness.
Way back when we were trying things out for auditions, you know, just the old whippersnappers, you know.
I am super grateful for everything that you've done for me, as well as everyone that I got to meet via the Saturday Morning TV auditions, all the voice acting challenges. You know, you're one of the first people that I got to meet and get feedback from, and I took everything to heart, and yeah, man, I love you, man.
I love you too. Okay, enough
All
of
right,
this
that's
sappy crap. We're not here for the sappy stuff. We're here to talk about voice acting.
That's right. It's enough to make a grown man cry, but not today. Get back in there, Tia.
Get back in there, Tia. I love that reference. If you guys don't know that reference, then you have a sad childhood, apparently, or you just don't like animated films.
Deprived child.
But yeah, like we've talked about, Tommy and I got to know each other simply because of auditions that we did on TikTok. And like I said, when I heard his auditions, I'm like, man, this guy is really good. He's got some good stuff. And, you know, it was mind-boggling to me when I got to talk to him a little bit more. He goes, no, man, I'm still pretty brand new at this. Like, Tommy, how long have you... Yeah, you're still, like, technically still new. But
Yes.
How long have you been at this voice acting career now?
Since the start of actually not even the start of the pandemic, it's about halfway into the pandemic, I started with Saturday Morning TV, doing those auditions, and I want to say, 2021? is when I started
Yeah.
doing the Detective Meow auditions. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness! Wow.
Wow.
And then just about like a year later, we're still doing auditions on TikTok, and boom, we both get picked on the same freaking project on Teteru, and it made me so happy.
It made me happy too, and because I think was there another project? Yeah, it was
There was Anchovy. and
Anchovy.
then
That's what it
Teteru.
was. You and I, we auditioned for everything from Detective Meow and Anchovy, and
We were
got a lot of positive
rivals.
feedback. Not necessarily rivals. I mean, we kind of pushed each other to be the best voice actors we could be for these auditions, which was amazing. And it just so happens, Brittany ends up casting us for Teteru, and I was so happy. When I got the news that I was being cast as Joseph, I was so happy. And then when I heard the news that you got cast, dude, I was ecstatic. Just because
Dude.
of all the hard work and auditions that you have put in, and just from the first auditions of Detective Meow and the growth you've had up to the auditions of Teteru, oh man, it just made me happy. I think that was probably the one casting in the show that just made me scream out loud. I'm like, yes, he landed it. Yes, I'm so happy. It was so cool.
Stop it. You're making me blush.
We haven't had the show released, unfortunately. But it was
Post-production hell.
Yeah, production hell. Do you want to give the audience like what the voice that you did for your character in the show, just so they can get a glimpse of what could have ultimately been?
All right, let me paint the picture here. I was cast as a evil henchman who was more of a goofball and kind of comedy relief. Him and his partner, Moore. I was cast as Bulkin, who was this very round. If you look at him, he's an upside down hot air balloon.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so when trying to go for the voice, I needed something well-rounded, big, and oafy. So I went like this. Yeah, my name is Bulkin. What are we doing here?
I love that voice so much, man. When I heard your audition, I'm like, oh, I hope Tommy gets it, because that is such a good voice. And you did, and it was beautiful. I'm sad that the episodes haven't been brought to life. It's originally dubbed in Korean, right? Is that what it was?
That's
and
right.
then it already had an English dub, but the creators of the show didn't like the way that the original dub sounded. So they sold it to Brittany of Saturday Morning TV and was cast, and we redubbed the entire first season, and now it's just sitting in production hell. So it's sad.
It happens.
Because it's a really fun show. I loved it, and I loved recording for Joseph, and I'm sure you loved recording for Bulkin as well.
I absolutely loved Bulkin. My favorite part was having my kids. When I would record and do the voice, and I try to get into character and keep the character, they'd be like, "Daddy, I want to hear Bulkin." Oh, you want to hear Bulkin, huh?
Oh.
Yeah, it was so adorable. They do that now with my goofy impression, and yeah, it's amazing what I do for my kids.
Right. I'm right there with you. There's times where my daughter, who's 6, she still asks me to do all my Disney impressions. So
I'll drop a Mickey in there.
Wowee!
And then I'll drop down to a Pooh Bear.
then you're Goofy,
Oh,
of course.
absolutely. Where's Maxie? Maxie!
Yeah, Dad.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on. Like, this is a perfect segue into it. It's the fact that you're so damn good at impressions as well, man. Like that was one of the things that I loved when I first saw your content, was just all the impressions that you can do. So tell me, me being an impressionist as well, how were you able to master these voices that you can do? Because there are plenty of impressions that you can do. How were you able to pick up all the different voices that you have in your repertoire?
Oh, man. It is a very rigorous process of watching cartoons and movies over and over and over again. Like watching Aladdin. Aladdin's my top tier favorite Disney movie. I literally remember asking my parents to rewind the movie. Yeah, rewind. I'm that old. As soon as I finished,
I know what you're talking about.
as soon as I finished watching the movie, I'd ask them to rewind it, play it again. And honestly, being involved in music actually helped a lot with voice manipulation, singing. I don't know. It's just like an ability that I have to be able to mimic as close as possible to what I can hear. Of course, practicing it over and over again, but I mean, it's fine. I don't hear it 100% of the time being 100% accurate, but impressions are not supposed to be, I'm not here to voice match. I'm here to have fun.
Yeah. Like it's funny when people they'll say, "Hey, how can I get better at impressions?" I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of wing it at times, and sometimes a lot of the voices just match my natural vocal range, and it works. But then, yeah, like there's times where if you're trying to do a voice, a lot of practice and listening to the actual voices themselves help out a ton. Practicing a lot ends up helping you out a lot. And sometimes it's just, getting lucky with a voice and having it be in your register. It just makes voices that much easier to do. Like for me, it's easy for me to do Solid Snake or even just Wolverine, just because I'm able to get down into those voices right away, and they're kind of similar in a sense. And that's the good thing about some voices is if you're able to do one impression, you might be able to do another impression. Like one that I love to do, is Homer J. Simpson. A lot of people don't realize that Homer also sounds like plankton. So like you just manipulate your voice a little bit, and now you got two new voices that you can do. Like, wouldn't you say it's a great tool to have to be able to do impressions because it allows you to come up with new voices?
Here's my secret. My audition for Bulkin in Teteru was literally an impression of Grog from the Vox Machina show.
No, I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
I did that, and then when she picked me and we had our meeting, I did the English accent with Grog, and she goes, "How do you feel about the accent?" I'm like, "I could drop it," and and that's what's cool about impressions is like, even if you do it accurately, if you don't, all of them can be manipulated and changed a little bit to create something brand new. My favorite thing about impressions is even if it's terrible, like, wow, I'm Christopher Walken, this is bad, and it's exaggerated.
It's better than mine.
That exaggerated and you add a little bit of tweaking to it. It could be something brand new. Yeah, sure, you could get the reference of it, but it can be this whole new character in a whole new world and on a magic carpet. I don't know where I was going with this.
I know what you're saying. Like, it's actually said really well from Rob Paulson. There's no such thing as a bad impression. And you might be like, if I'm trying to do a Christopher Walken, it's going to sound like shit. Wow. Yeah, it's a bad impression. But at the same time, there's no such thing as a bad impression because your bad impression just turned into an original voice that you can use for any character. Yeah, this might not sound like Christopher Walken, but I can use this for like some stuck-up asshole for any other project if I really wanted to, So
what's awesome with that, if you tweak that up, the pitch a bit, you got Joey Wheeler.
Yeah, if you really think about it, Yug, it kind of sounds like Joey Wheeler.
Shut up, Joey.
See, that's the beauty of being able to just do voices. Like for me, I love taking all the different voices I can do. Like people who know me as
Pico. I love doing my Pico voice. My Pico voice is just a combination of two other voices that I do. And one of them is Ryan Drummond Sonic.
And then the other one is just my Roger Craig Smith Sonic.
And then I combine the two together, and I got my Pico voice.
So what it is, like the actual tone of Pico is my Ryan Drummond impression, and then the attitude and personality that I bring to it is Roger Craig Smith Sonic. So you can take all these different voices that you can do and manipulate them to come up with cool new characters. But I think a cool segment that we can just kind of move into quickly is just talk about the emphasis of acting over voices, because we can do all these cool voices, but if you don't know how to act with your voices, it's just going to be bland and it's not going to stand out. Like, what is your thoughts on that, Tommy? Like, how important do you think acting is in comparison to being able to do all these voices?
So when I look back at all the videos that I duetted and auditions that I've done in the past, if I re-listen to it, yeah, sure, I got the voice that I wanted down, but very early on, I could tell why, like with the experience that I have now, I could tell why I did not book, and it was mostly because I didn't have the acting at the level that it should have been at that time. You can have, even with impressions, like say if I do my Goofy, if I just do my Goofy like this without any sort of emotion, it doesn't really sound like Goofy. I mean, it kind of does, but like it's not well rounded. You gotta get energetic. You gotta get a little loosey goosey, and
You gotta get goofy.
one of the things that I talked with Brittany about, I'm so grateful for Brittany and Chelsea and you and everyone that I got to meet from Saturday morning TV and TikTok and everything. The emphasis on and the comparison to voice acting with acting being the main component. It's the meat and potatoes of the dish. You don't want bland chicken for dinner. No, you want some seasoning on it. You want a side dish to go with it. And that's the acting part of it. You want to feel whatever it is you're trying to tell the story about. Like, say if there's it's a rainy day and you're standing outside looking out into a window of someone that broke up with you. You're gonna be really sad. I really miss her. Wow. Being able to tell the story, you need the emotion in it. You need the acting ability. And yeah, I firmly believe now, opposed to then, that it is little voice, big acting.
Yes. Yep. That's the term that Rob Paulson uses. It's little V, big A, meaning voices are secondary to the acting. The acting's always going to be the most important thing. Like, the analogy that I love to use is think back to the old Looney Tunes cartoons. Say Daffy Duck is getting really upset. His face fills up red, and when he gets to the top, smoke starts coming out of his ears because he's so angry. So if he says, "You're despicable," and he says it's super over the top, and he gets really pissed off at Bugs, are we just gonna be like, "You're despicable," or is like, "You're despicable," like super over the top and loud, and we put emphasis to show how angry he is? Like, that's ultimately what you want to do. You want to be able to convey these emotions and bring them to life. Animators can only do so much when they're bringing a picture to life, and my God, they do a great job. But if we don't provide the voice that matches the image on the screen, it just kind of devalues what the animators are ultimately doing. We have to perform. We have to bring these emotions to life in a way that you typically wouldn't do in an everyday situation. We have to exaggerate. We have to make them more extreme than what they typically would be. Like Tommy said, like, you're staring out the window on a rainy day and your heart's broken. How are you really gonna convey your sadness? You're gonna have the break in your voice. You'll be crying, gasping while you talk to really emphasize how sad you are. So yeah,
that's just the seasoning on the dish, and then you can throw in a little bit of anger into that as well, and that's the side dish. Just mixing emotions and having fun. That's the main thing, having fun, and I love it so much.
And that's a good thing to incorporate too. Like, yeah, you might get one emotional direction in a line, but if you're able to toss in an additional emotion in your delivery, and it's that extra flavoring, that extra spice that just enhances your performance altogether. Oh, it just takes your craft to a whole different level if you're able to manipulate and twist certain emotions during one specific read. Like, that's what I try to do in my auditions now. I try to incorporate additional emotions on top of what they provide. Like, there's one audition I did recently where the character is supposed to be frustrated. So I start off the read as frustrated, but I also turn it into him being disappointed. And then at the end of it, like, have it come full circle and just kind of have like this explosion of anger at the end. And my God, it just made it more juicy. It made it more, like, oh my God, like standout worthy. As when we're auditioning, we want to put on a performance that is going to captivate the listener and make them like, ooh, I like that. Let me shortlist them. So, yeah, I can't emphasize enough about how important the acting side is, along with the voices. The voices can get you the recognition, but the acting is going to get you. It's actually what's going to get you cast multiple times in multiple projects.
So one of the workshops that I got to do this past year via Voice Masters, I did a singing and animation workshop. And when it came to my turn, the director, who has been working in so many movies and so many projects, he asked me, he's like, all right, so we're singing this song, Disney, of course, Go the Distance, Hercules, great song.
Love that song.
And they're like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. I heard your sample that you recorded. I recorded just myself, my normal voice singing. And then they said, all right, now we're gonna change it up. You are a tiny mouse. Like, okay, sure. And then I ran through it, and they go, okay, now this is what I want from you. You're gonna redo these lines right here. These few bars. I want you to go from happy, sad, angry, back to happy. And I was like, what do you want me to oh, okay, sure, let's do this. And I kind of impressed myself because I did it, and he loved it. He goes, if I was casting a project right now, I'd cast you. Like, you'd book it right then and there. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is making me so happy.
Yeah, doesn't that make you just feel so good when someone tells you that?
It honestly does. And I'm working on it so much to not like undervalue what I do, because I tend to undersell myself because I'm so new at this. But I could do things. I'm here with Corey. I'm up to bat with Corey. I'm playing cleanup after, or actually, you're playing cleanup. I'm just trying to get on base.
and that is actually a perfect segue into the final portion of the episode.
I'm glad you like that.
I do. Like, you set that up perfectly, and I think you did that on purpose, and I love you for that. So thank you.
Accidental genius. I'm a big fan of myself for accidental genius moments.
Accidental genius is my middle name. So as you guys know, just with these first two episodes, at the end of each episode, I like to act out a specific scene with my guest. And I say it was a perfect segue because Tommy and I, we've been wanting to record this for a while.
Yes.
And we're going to perform Who's On First? The classic baseball comedy sketch from Abbott and Costello. If you have never heard this sketch, man, this is a real treat. Go and watch the original. It is so funny. But Tommy and I, are, of course, we're not going to do it as Abbott and Costello. We're going to do it as characters that we love to voice. So, Tommy, who would you like to personify in this telling of Who's On First?
I like to twist it around. Okay, so I'm going to use my Joker impression that I do. My Mark Hamill Joker.
I love that. So if that's the case, should I do my Batman?
Oh, Batsy, where are you?
Listen here, Joker.
There you are.
It's time to do some Abbott and Costello. So who do you ultimately want to play? Do you want to play Abbott or Costello in this?
Okay, so normally Joker would be the one with the puns and the jokes and everything.
True.
And the play on words. I want Batman to have a little bit of like humor revenge, if you want to say. So I would love Joker to be Costello in this.
Okay, I like that idea. Yeah, we'll do that. So this is a retelling of Who's on First from Abbott and Costello as Joker and Batman. So I will lead us into this then.
Yes,
Here we go. Well, Costello, I'm going to New York with you. Bucky Harris, the Yankees manager, gave me a job as coach for as long as you're on the team.
Look, Abbott, if you're the coach, you must know all the players.
I certainly do.
Well, I've never met the guys. So you'll have to tell me their names, and then I'll know who's playing on the team.
Oh, I'll tell you their names. But it seems to me, they give these ball players nowadays very peculiar names.
Ooh, you mean funny names?
Strange names. Pet names. Like Dizzy Dean.
Ah, his brother Daffy.
Daffy Dean.
And their French cousin.
French?
Gouffet.
Gouffet Dean. Well, let's see. We have on the bags, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know is on third.
Well, that's what I'm here to find out.
I say, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
Are you the manager?
Yes.
You're going to be the coach, too.
Yes.
And you don't know the fellows' names?
Well, I should.
Well, then, who's on first?
Yes.
I mean the fellow's name.
Who?
The guy on first.
Who?
The first baseman.
Who?
The guy playing.
Who is on first?
I'm asking you, who's on first?
That's the man's name.
That's whose name?
Yes,
Well, go ahead and tell me.
that's it.
That's who?
Yes.
Oh, bah. Look, you got a first baseman.
Certainly.
Then who's playing first?
That's right.
When you pay off the first baseman every month, who gets the money?
Every dollar of it.
All I'm trying to find out is the fellow's name on first base.
Who?
The guy that gets it.
That's it.
Who gets the money?
He does, Joker. Every dollar of it. Sometimes his wife comes down and collects it.
Whose wife?
Yes. What's wrong with that?
All I want to know is when you sign up the first baseman, how does he sign his name?
Who?
The guy.
Who?
How does he sign?
That's how he signs it.
Who?
Yes.
All I'm trying to find out is what's the guy's name on first base?
No. What is on second base?
Well, I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
One base at a time.
Well, don't change the players around.
I'm not changing nobody.
Take it easy, buddy.
I'm only asking you. Who's the guy on first base?
That's right.
Okay.
All right.
What's the guy's name on first base?
No. What is on second?
I'm not asking you who's on second.
Who's on first?
I don't know.
He's on third. We're not talking about him.
Now, how did I get on third base?
Why you mentioned his name?
If I mention the third baseman's name, Who did I say is playing third?
No. Who's playing first?
What's on base?
What's on second?
I don't know!
He's on third.
Back on third again! Oh, would you just say on third base and don't go off it?
All right. What do you want to know?
Now, who's playing third base?
Why do you insist on putting who on third base?
What am I putting on third?
No. What is on second?
You don't want who on second?
Who is on first?
I don't know! Third base! Look, you got an outfield.
Sure.
The left fielder's name.
Why?
I just thought I'd ask you.
Well, I just thought I'd tell you.
Tell me who's playing left field.
Who's playing first?
I'm not. Stay out of the infield! I want to know what's the guy's name in left field.
No. What is on second?
I'm not asking you who's on second!
Who's on first?
I don't know.
Third base!
The left fielder's name.
Why?
Because.
Oh, he's center field.
Look! You got a pitcher on this team?
Sure.
The pitcher's name.
Tomorrow.
You don't want to tell me today?
I'm telling you now.
Then go ahead.
Tomorrow.
What time?
What time what?
What time tomorrow are you gonna tell me who's pitching?
Now listen. Who is not pitching?
I'll break your arm if you say who's on first! I want to know what's the pitcher's name.
What's on second?
I don't know.
Third base!
You got a catcher?
Certainly.
The catcher's name.
Today.
Today. And tomorrow's pitching.
Now you've got it.
All we got is a couple of days on the team. You know, I'm a catcher too.
I bet you are. So they tell me.
I get behind the plate to do some fancy catching. Tomorrow's pitching on my team, and a heavy hitter gets up. Now, the heavy hitter bunts the ball. When he bunts the ball, me, being a good catcher, I'm going to throw the guy out at first. So, I pick up the ball and throw it to who?
Now that's the first thing you've said right.
I don't even know what I'm talking about!
That's all you have to do.
Is to throw the ball to first base?
Yes,
Now who's got it?
naturally.
Now look, Batsy. If I throw the ball to first base, somebody's got to get it. Now, who has it?
Naturally.
Who?
Naturally.
Naturally?
Naturally.
So I pick up the ball and throw it to Naturally.
No. You don't. You throw the ball to who?
Naturally.
That's different.
That's what I said.
You're not saying it.
I threw the ball to Naturally.
You throw it to who?
Naturally.
That's it.
That's what I said.
You ask me.
I throw the ball to who?
Naturally.
Now you ask me.
You throw the ball to who?
Naturally.
That's it.
Same as you.
same as you. I throw the ball to who? Whoever it is drops the ball, and the guy runs to second. Who picks up the ball and throws it to what? What throws it to? I don't know. I don't know. Throws it back to tomorrow. Triple play. Another guy gets up and hits a long fly ball to because. Why? I don't know. He's on third. And I don't give a damn.
What?
I said, Betsy, I don't give a damn.
Oh, Joker. That's our shortstop. Oh man, I love that performance. Just, with it being Joker and Batman, it just makes it that much better. and I do like what you said, like
does.
let Batman be the one who tells the jokes this time, and just let it infuriate Joker.
That was that was why I wanted to record this. That was absolutely hilarious.
And you guys, Tommy does a fantastic Joker. I love his Joker voice. Like he has a bunch of impression videos on TikTok of him doing his Joker. Go check him out too, because he does a phenomenal job with it.
Why, thank you, Corey. Thank you again. You're being so nice again.
Well, you're my friend. I love being nice to my friends.
No, we're just friends? What? We're brothers, sir. We are brothers.
Brothers till the end.
Yes.
Well, my brother, this is a good place to end this week's episode of Voices with Corey. Tommy, thanks so much for jumping on the podcast with me and just continuing what we've already got going on. This has been really fun, just being able to jump on and talk about voice acting and just perform with my friends. Being able to perform with you, it's always a good time, man. And I'm so glad that we finally got to do this scene.
I had such a blast. Thank you for inviting me, and I had so much fun reading this awesome script and getting a great case of swamp bass in my booth. It's so freaking warm in here.
You and me both, dude. On that note, everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Voices with Corey. Thank you again, Tommy, for joining me. We will see you next week. Our next guest also comes from the hit indie animated series Spooky Month. We will let you know here at the end of the episode. But you guys, take care. Thanks for tuning in, and I love you.
I love you too, Corey. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Voices with Corey. Tune in to our next episode, where we interview Smuggers, streamer and voice of Sad Guy and Richard in Spooky Month. See you next time.